body shaking but not stirred. Just a lesson that I've learned. And so it goes, tables turn, and you're on your own. When I think about the way it used to be, when I think about the things it took from me, I know that I am so much better off. When I look at what I've done, I'm really hurt. When I look at what I've won, I've come so far. I know I'm so much better off, and baby, you don't belong. When I think about the way it used to be, when I think about the things it took.
All right, looks like we've given our final instructions for our kids to get set to go. So in just a moment, we're going to parade and introduce our youngins for everybody. We're just having a fun afternoon here. We're going to have our juniors competing in a couple of races. First up will be a scratch. And my last word I heard is there will be a split in the group, so we'll have two groups of riders racing in a scratch. So that'll be coming up here real soon. Again, we're going to get these riders out on the track and introduce them to everybody. Give me a chance to kind of run through everybody's names as well and get used to who's going to be here today. The stream is being pushed out right now to YouTube, so if family and friends are wanting to check in and watch our youngsters compete today for fun, then they can certainly do so. Again, the Burnaby Velodrome is hosting on YouTube. You can search for that in the search bar on YouTube, then find that link, thumbs up the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. Make sure to share that with friends and family. Let them know that this is going on today. And, of course, we'll be streaming tonight's evening session as well. The 6 p.m. session will be back up there in the same spot. So if you're not able to stick around, go check it out. You can see on the infield, getting a few more pieces of information. I believe this is to line up the parade, making sure we get everybody ready to go. Awesome. So in a moment, parade will start. We do have an A and a B group. A's will stay on, B's will be exiting. How many laps are going to take around for our first scratch race? 15 lap scratch. Fantastic. So the front of our lineup here will be our A juniors. The B junior squad will be kind of the back half of the parade. Just a chance to make sure we know everybody's here today to have some fun racing going on. One lead out for everybody, that's always helpful. And the front that looks to be Sydney, if I think I can see that number 306 on the other side. 304 Isabella right behind her. That's Leah in number 302. Isabella next up in line. Number 307 is Emil. There we go. Number 309 is Felix. 308 is the next up in the lineup, and that's Lucas. And I can't see our next number. 310, I believe that's Moss, almost there at the end of the lineup. 305 is Mackenzie, second from the back there. Camille at the end, fantastic. So I think the next time around, we're going to ask those B juniors to come into the in part of the field here and exit while the A stay on, and we're going to bring those guys up and start the scratch in a moment. So eyes up on, I think Hans is going to direct your traffic for the B riders to come off, and we'll keep the A riders on. So B-Riders will be up here in a second, and as we start with the racing action, as soon as we're ready to start this race, we'll let you know. They're down in the neutral. This is the A juniors, or junior A riders, going for a 15-lap scratch. Again, that's Sydney at the front in the green. She's going to be right behind our rider that's kind of setting the pace right now, that black top jersey there. That's going to be our pace rider for just a little bit longer as we get ourselves together. And the racing is now underway with the sound of the whistle. 15 to go. The first lap. Lining up nicely here early on in the scratch race. Conserving energy, riding smart. Just because they're young doesn't mean they don't know how to do this thing well. They understand how this works. Don't waste energy early on in the racing event. Save it for later. Good group of three here at the front for our junior competitors. It looks like our lead group of three going to keep putting the power down here. Liza, the lead rider, with bib 300. Right behind her, 350 is Monty taking the lead now. And that is looking like a good effort for these three. They're just trying to put the scratch race to bed pretty early. They still got 5 more laps they're seeing as they're coming through here. Almost a half lap up on the chasing riders at 5 to go. Sydney once again coming up to the front. And our chase group here doing some good work. Isabella's working hard. Pairing up with Leah there, the Jerry Baker Jr.'s team. Cannondale putting on a nice showing here. The locals know how to ride this thing pretty well from the looks of it. Our Seattle out-of-towners having a good time here as well in our junior field, but definitely down the lap, or half lap right now. Coming back onto the front straight, seeing 3 to go. It looks like our green team closing things down. Number 350, that's Monty pulling up to the right, giving room for the 2 in that group. Working with him about halfway across the track still as our chasers are working together and working hard at 3 to go. Our leaders seeing 2. Now the race is on between these 3. Before they're working cooperatively, now they're starting to race against each other. And Monty takes the dive down to the sprinter's lane. It's starting to get up out of the saddle. He still has almost a full lap left as the bell's not ringing yet. And 1 to go. Monty on the front. The big chase from Sydney and Liza currently going on. Jerry Baker Jr. is also sprinting things out. Here comes our finisher as Monty looks to take the first place spot. And 306 is Sydney coming across second place. The sprint is still on for 4th as Jerry Baker Jr. 302. Off and away is Leah. Still going for our Jerry Baker Jr. kids. It's going to be Isabella coming around the corner here now, and Leah holding on as much as she can. It'll be Leah, then Isabella to finish up. Nice racing for our junior A's in their scratch race. All right, junior A is all wrapped up. 12 lap scratch race upcoming for the junior Bs. 12 lap scratch race coming up for the junior B riders.
I belong to you.
I belong to you.
Do just what you want. You're the one I trust. And I'll always be around when I need some loving, baby.
Junior B is now coming onto the track. Again, we are set to do a 12 lap scratch for these guys, and they do have, once again, a not junior helping them out. Looks like that's going to be one rider leading us around for a couple laps until we're all together, and then we're going to get started. As soon as we give the whistle, we can start this race off. 12 laps of scratch racing upcoming for our young riders. The future of track racing competing here. The Western Track Challenge is, of course, a great highlight for U19 and U17 riders. These are even younger than that. These are truly our youngest group of riders developing, traveling from out of town. We have some Seattle competitors coming in here. They're generally marked by their black and blue of the Jerry Baker Jr.'s kit. Otherwise, we've got some BC regionals and still waiting for folks to come together. As Riley knows how to go fast. He's got one speed, apparently. It looks like we're going to start this officially with 10 to go. And I think they're getting close enough together here. We're ready to get them started. There's the whistle. All right, kids, let's have some fun. Ride safe, keep the speed going. It's really helpful to have our more experienced riders out there helping out as they can get the kids up to speed, as you cannot go too slow here at Burnaby. Got to keep yourself up to speed to go through those big banks and the big turns at the velodrome. Our Seattle riders in particular have to get adjusted to coming up here to a little stronger turns. And our group using up 2 lanes right now. The sprinters lane and the blue line kind of serving as the places they're going to hang out, as it looks like Emil, number 307, has really settled into that lead position for the last couple of laps. They just saw 7 to go as they were coming in that time. Still plenty of racing left to go. They're just keeping it at speed and getting ready for a finish here in a few more laps. It's still Emil doing a great job leading the thing out right now. Camilla is in second wheel. A couple kids coming down into the blue. That's part of the learning process. They're back up and on it. No problemo. Emil's been at the front for a while, but we will have a change of leader. Kind of sneaking up from the middle part of the track is 309. I believe that's Felix. Playing that blue line for a while. Time to dive on in and get this race going for him. Halfway through the race when they come across the line next time. Felix putting on a nice effort here, but Emil still has plenty more to give. Tries to close down the gap and come up onto the rear wheel. Got to learn how to manage those G-forces and all that, the feeling of coming up and out of that bank and out of that turn. Got to learn to control the bike and how to sit in those corners. Starting to navigate this a little better. Still Felix on the front, a little group of 4 starting to string things together. We still have some of our assisting riders joining in, riding at that blue line kind of on the back part of the field. The front rider is still number 309, Felix in the dark blue. Everybody's sitting in that lineup just ready to go, and it's going to be an attack here a little bit from Emil. It looks like it will be. Our rider with the green bike trying to make a move around the top. A nice acceleration. I see 3 to go on the lap cards as 2 come across the line. Emil side by side with Felix. They're just hammering it out now. Who can survive the high speed the Junior Bs are putting on here? Felix again, back at the front. Camilla is that rider in second spot in blue and black. Lined up in 3. Lucas trying to get in the mix as well. Number 308, getting pretty close to being at the front himself. Who will get to the front of this one? We're just about there. Don't forget about Moss, number 310, about 5th wheel in that lineup. Here is the bell. It's 1 to go, kids. 1 to go. 1 more fast lap to go. Our youngest riders competing here over the weekend. In the last lap of their scratch, it's still Felix on the front. Look out for Camilla trying to keep the wheel as well. Coming around, Felix still leading it out. Camilla trying to challenge, incoming. Here comes the sprint. Camilla getting a little bit of room here. It'll be Felix and Camilla going 1-2 with 307. It looks like that's going to be Emil, our earlier race leader. Coming across the line in a good position. I think that's Enric that's sneaking up in the darker car with the blue helmet. Nice job, buddy. Getting all the way up there in that finish. That's fun. Way to go for our youngest riders here in their scratch race. You guys are all finished up. Keeping it under control and exiting like pros. These kids know what to do. Exit on the straights as you can. Nicely done, kids.
The sky has opened up. We start our engines, countdown from 10. Kiss the sun goodnight and go where no one goes. Yeah, 'cause we're chasing desires up above the city lights. Yeah, we're burning like fire now. 'Cause we're walking on air, walking on air, feeling high over the surface. Walking on air, yeah,
So stay tuned. We are going to be bringing our juniors back out again here in a bit. Give them a moment to get some explanation for the next race. We're going to do a handicap. We'll set them across the track in different positions where their start to try to adjust for their abilities and speed. We'll do that for both groups. Our junior A's coming up here in just a little bit. We'll take a little bit of time off the mic and let them finish getting set up. And we'll be back with you soon, as it's going to be junior A's with a handicap up in just a few minutes. All right, our very brief and exciting handicap race underway. It is a two-lapper. Of course, Isabella with a little bit of a benefit of starting a little closer to the finish. That's the point of this one, is to try to give everybody a fair shot based on their speed and finishing from that last race. Isabella already getting the one-to-go bell. Bell's ringing for everybody as they come across the line. A nice chase coming in there, as it looks like Leah's going to be able to catch back up onto that. Sydney going for it down the back straight. It looks like it'll be Isabella holding off. Nice sprint to the line, and another double duo there coming across the line. And they gave Monty, for doing such a great job of that scratch, the hard start. He didn't even start on that side of the finish line. So Monty with the hardest hill to climb. Nice job to our junior A's. Junior B handicap coming up. All right, so we're just about set here to get started. Our riders are all in their positions. Based on their finish in the scratch, we'll get them started here in just a moment. And the sound of the whistle was just given, and the riders are underway. For the handicap, again, a 2-lap, or it's going to go pretty quick. First rider is going to hear that bell really fast. I think that was Kenzie going by. Going to be hearing this bell any second now, and off for the 1 to go mark. Everybody else in the chase trying to get up to her. 1 to go. Kenzie still holding on to it at the front of the race. Lucas chasing down hard, trying to get to that wheel. And it looks like it will be Kenzie at the front of the race, finishing first. What a great sprint, though, for all of our junior riders, our junior Bs. Coming out for a second fun race. We've got a third one upcoming here soon. We'll get these guys set in just a bit. As these guys are all finished up already, they can exit off the track when they're ready to. Take it nice and easy, guys, and find a straight to get off on. And we'll get you set once again back over in the ready area real soon. One neutral lap here in our 10-lap elimination. What that means, again, just so the folks on the stream can also pick up on what's going on here, is they're going to race for 10 laps before we start eliminating. Then it'll be every other lap, essentially. You'll hear a bell, elimination as they come across the line. That's the last rider across the line on those laps will be pulled from the race. Looks like we're going to need at least another neutral because I don't think we're all together just yet.
Riders at the front of the peloton, please slow down. Slow down. You have riders that need to come, so slow things down. Riley, maybe you can get to the front and slow down.
Getting our groups back together again. Again, waiting. We'll hear a whistle when it's time to start as our front four really are ready to go. And that was the sound of the whistle, so we can get this thing started. 10 laps of racing before the eliminations begin. Then we'll take a bell, and after that, you'll start hearing names of riders who will be getting removed from the race. They'll get eliminated until we get down to the final two. At that point, it's basically just a sprint for first and second place. You'll hear another bell at that point, and first rider across is our winner at that point. So we'll keep working our way down towards that as we get closer to our elimination bell. The first of that will be rung after 10 laps going around. It's, of course, one of our junior coaches out there. Riley's giving them the laps, the rider in red and white. The rest of our junior field lining up in kind and getting ready for their turn to be at the front. To be Monty getting up to the front there in the green and black, taking his turn leading this lineup around the track. Looks to be Sydney there, the red bike leading it out, I believe, in the green jersey. Great, 5 still remaining here before the eliminations begin. My mistake earlier. That's Sydney now at the front in the green with the black bike underneath her. Leah sitting in right behind her. And there's Isabel as well, keeping it all nice and lined up as we're getting ready for eliminations in just a few more laps. Our juniors will be reminded again that first bell will signify when the eliminations start. At that point, it just pays to not be last every lap. Isabella finding herself leading things out. Isabella's getting ready. Bella getting ready to hear the bell here pretty soon. Last rider across the line on the next lap is out. No reward to be at the front, but that doesn't mean we ain't gonna go fast. Looks like Monty, I believe, being the one to open up that move there. Plenty of room for him to feel comfortable now as the rest of the field is keeping it close enough, but it's the last rider across that we're watching for. I think that's going to be Leah there, 302. She'll find her way off. This bell signifies the next elimination. That'll be another lap around still. Looks to be Monty still driving the pace. The junior coach sitting in on his wheel saying, nice work here. You are clipping along nicely. Sydney making room over the top, trying to secure a position for herself, moving along in the middle of the track. And it looks like it'll be Bella on this lap, getting found at the back end of the field. Nice job to Bella, a great effort from her today. Bell's ringing again. Reminder that we will be removing one more next time around. Still working our way down in this field. Sydney says, no thanks, I don't want to be anywhere near the back. She makes a nice move to the front, darts away from the other riders. Feeling pretty safe. There's a good sprint at the back end, though. Whoa! Was that Monty there in the green? I believe it was. Nice attempt to get back up to it. Very nice sprint. That bell's ringing for our last lap of the race. 2 riders left in the group, and they're fighting for first and second. Sydney's been leading for quite some time. Can she hold on to it a little bit longer? And she does just that. How about a quick round of applause for our Junior A competitors for finishing up 3 great races today. Nice job to the kids. They're all wrapped up. Last junior race up, I believe, will be coming up just in a bit. That's going to be the elimination for Junior Bs. Very similar format to what we just saw. We'll be back with you here real quick with the Junior B riders.
Some kind of magic, you came into my life. And with that bed, you give me something twice. You're an angel, and always on my mind. I wanna love you like I do on my own. Yeah, this is what it's about, and it's just you and I, and the stars in the sky, and the heart of mine.
All right, as we're coming back into racing action here, it will be Junior B is going for a scratch race, scratch that elimination. Scratch race for 10 laps. Make sure that they're all together again before we get the racing started. As you can see them getting lined up here and ready to go. Again, our last race here for the Junior Bs looks like it'll be a 10-lap scratch. Just about ready to get started as long as we're all together, which we're still working on doing. Coach Riley there leading things around in the red and white. Non-participatory in the race, but he's helping things move along at a good speed and checking in on the kids, making sure we're doing all good out here on the track. Camilla will be the first on his wheel currently, getting ready to get started here. Again, we're just waiting to make sure everybody's ready to race. Maybe one more and maybe a little bit slower on the front to make sure, or just a little bit more pause before we're ready to start. Need to make sure these 4 riders are close and it's all fair and game before we get started. Still getting riders together. All right, and with that, we'll start the thing off. Again, 10 laps of scratch racing. First rider to finish at the front at the end of this thing is the winner. No points along the way or any other complications. Nice and simple racing. Nothing wrong with that. Still Isabella there in the black and blues, finding herself at the front of the race. I'm sorry, Camilla. I got that backwards. Sisters. Sitting right next to Dad. He'll correct me. Number 307 there, it's Emil getting to the front. We're taking their turns, waiting for their chance to go as we're going to work down the laps a few times here. Looks like Felix and crew have done a good job catching on and staying in the back there. Everybody's grouped up nicely here before we pick up too much speed as we get into the race. Moss moving up to the front. I think that's bib 310 in the blue and orange. Moss pulls out of the way and Camilla moves into position. Six to go, the call right now. 6 to go for our field. You hear it time and time again how track racing is a great springboard to learn the skills needed for any kind of cycling racing. And you can kind of see why. Right here, we can keep our eyes on them the whole time. We got coaches out there. We got basically what were juniors just in the last year out here, experienced riders in their own right, kind of helping and guiding them along, keeping everybody in the right spot, just making sure everything's going good. We have coaches on the infield, staff on the infield. There's a huge community of supportive people around, supportive athletes for these youth riders. So what better place is there to learn the skills of competitive cycling than at a velodrome? I know none. Seeing 4 to go there as they come through. Getting close and closer to the end here, so they're all starting to think about that finish. Oh man, neutralized it is. Keeping everything together. We will open things up after the bell, so making sure everybody's still in position here. Still neutralized. I haven't heard a bell ring. The desire to go fast is so strong, though. Trying so hard to keep this thing together, but it's starting to break apart because it's just so fun to go fast. Don't you know? They are hearing a bell. It is now time to go full speed ahead. Our last race for our youngest group of riders competing this weekend, the Western Track Challenge, and off we go. Enric with the green bike coming in and closing in for a big finish. Felix coming across the line second. Wow, nicely done. Enric exploding. Nice work to the Junior Bs. All right. How about a quick round of applause for the Junior B competitors for their great work today. Nice job, kids. Riding safe and fast. All right.
Okay, we've got a thing. We're going to do a points race for the E-Riders right now. And I just want to remind everyone that we've got a professional photographer and rider, A-Racer, Billy Davies from Bill Davies Photography. He is in the lots right now and will be taking photos of riders. So just a reminder for all these racers who are here racing, where you run, please go to the lobby, and get some professional shots done. You will get those linked to your photo photos. So, A-Racer, into the registration area.
So those tune in online that couldn't quite pick up on all that, we do have the Junior A's coming up for one more race. We are going to do a points race with the Junior A competitors. So they're going to get set to go for that here in just a bit. A points race coming up for the Junior A riders.
Okay, so riders, you can go to the rail.
Just use this.
It's so muddled without it.
It's not on the screen.
Well, that's
We'll talk about muddles.
well, it's also okay.
Okay, right now our A riders are going to the rail and they've got their instructions 4x4. Every 4 laps we will ring the bell and there'll be a sprint. Points awarded to the top 4 that cross the line in the order of 5, 3, 2, and 1. And once our riders are ready, we will get them to roll. Riders ready? Roll out for a neutral lap and a half. So again, we've got 2 coach riders in the group. We've got 3 local riders from the Devo Cannondale Fortius team and 2 riders from Seattle riding for the Jerry Baker Memorial, so the Jerry Baker Juniors. This race will be sprints every 4 laps, and after each sprint, the group is to regroup. So the riders are on. And the race is underway. All right, so nice steady group here with Sydney on the front, followed by Monty. All right, seems like the pace is picking up, but everyone's handling it nicely. So that is great. Should see some good exchanges here as the riders pull off the front. And that's the bell for our first sprint. So these riders will be going all out trying to get the best position. And it looks like a little bit of a gap form in the top three. Sydney on the front, but look at Monty. He's out of the saddle going high by the stairs line. And Lisa's trailing him, but will he get her at the line? And yes, Monty, Sydney, and Lisa in that order, followed by Isabella and number 302, which is Leah, or Lee, sorry. And riders going to regroup, so you're going to go high up on the bank. Riders in the lead, go high up above the stairs line, please. As our ride regroups. And here they are, the ride is regrouped again, so good job coming back together. And what we should see now is a nice little pace line as riders take a turn at the front and then pull off. Sometimes riders take half lap pulls, other times riders will take a full pull for the whole lap. And here they go again, the next. And some good accelerations there. Over the top, Lee goes over the top, followed by Lisa. And Monty is out of the saddle at the stairs line. He's got to travel the most distant. And it looks like Leah may take this one. It's going to be close. And Leah takes it, followed by Lisa. And then Monty, 350. And those riders are going to regroup. So riders at the front, please move up the track. Move up the track above the stairs line and let this group regroup again as quickly as possible. So a really good challenge there. And it looks like everyone's back together again. Nicely done. Sydney, just bring it back into the fold here. And that was a good battle. Nice to see a close sprint like that. Leah using the track to her advantage. And Sydney, you need to be regrouped here for this sprint. Raring to go, but look, our race coach, he's taken this into his own hands. He's got a way to move her up, and he sure has moved her up. And it looks like Lisa's going to come through on this one. She'll take some points. Sydney and then Monty again. And riders asking you to move up above that stair line after the sprint. And we're going to have one more sprint to go here to finish off this points race. So far, it's been a good battle. We've seen the few contenders getting points. And riders, you have to regroup. All right, front riders, please slow down. You have to regroup before the finish. So rider coach is trying to force that rider up so she can slow down a little bit and let this race regroup. We might have a sprint from the back three for the points. Not sure how we're going to call this, but there's a little bit of an attack as Lisa comes. And they're going to get the bell here And Leah's digging hard at this Isabella. So they're pushing, but it looks like Sydney's taking the early lead, followed by Monty and Lisa. But it's not over till they cross the finish line, and let's see what we call. And there was Sydney, Monty, Lisa, Leah, or Lee, and Isabel. And that was your 8 points race. Let's give these riders a hand for those sprints and trying to control their speed to bring it back together. A little bit more difficult than it looks, apparently.
All right, thanks Hans for jumping in on the mic and helping us keep the action going. And we are just about ready to shut down for a little bit here. We are going to have open track time. But if you're tuning in, we'll be shutting down the stream here in just a little bit. Racing does resume again tonight at 6, I believe, after our cancellation of some early planned events. That'll happen before that. So instead of starting up at 5, we'll be back at 6 p.m. for the evening session. Another thanks to our juniors and mom and dad for supporting track racing and being out here making this happen today. And our thanks to, of course, Burnaby Velodrome for hosting some great action this afternoon. We'll be back again with more tonight at 6 for the Western Track Challenge here at Burnaby Velodrome.
Out in stormy weather, I might have the blues, but nothing ever stopped me from dusting off my shoes. You might think you'll see me falling to the ground,